This is the third video for lesson 11-3. I had a phone call come through which ended the previous video right where I was, so I am sorry. All right, let's start back where we were. So we're dealing with the area of the sector. So we have 16 pi times 90 over 360, or you could have said times 1 over 4 if you could just reduce that in your head. And we say 16 times 90 divided by 360 times pi. And that is 12.57. That gives us the area of the sector, this whole thing. Now we need to find the area of the triangle. Let's look at that. That equals 1/2 base times height. Once again, we're going to have to create the triangle. We know that the radii are 4, so that we know that two sides of the triangle are each 4, but we don't know what the hypotenuse is. So I used the Pythagorean theorem to solve for the hypotenuse, which is 5.66. I then take half of it to do a half 90-degree triangle right here to solve for our height. This is a 45-45 triangle because, here's why. We knew that it was a 90-degree triangle, and we knew that because the sides are made by radii, that it's an isosceles triangle, which means these two have to be equal. That makes them 45 each. So we have a 45-45 triangle. Again, we're going to use a special right triangle to figure out our height. So if this is 2.83, then this is going to be 2.83 because the sides of Yes, I'm sorry. Can you tell? I'm sorry. I had like a complete mental block about this. I was afraid that I had gotten this angle wrong, but I didn't. Praise the Lord. Okay, so we have an isosceles triangle or a 45-45 90. So the height is going to be the same as our base. So we know that if this is 2.83, that this is also 2.83. Okay, now we need to find the area of this whole triangle, which we're equipped to do. Our whole base is 5.66 times our height of 2.83 divided in half equals 8.01. Now we go to our formula for finding the area of the green segment. That's going to be the area of the sector minus the area of the triangle, and that equals 4.56 meters squared. All right, we just have a little bit left to do in this, and I'm going to try to do it in one video so that we don't drag this out too long. But now I have flipped to page 766, and we are looking at the top of it. This is going to be similar to finding the area of a sector, which was one of the first things we did. But this time, we're going to be finding the arc length. So, reading the top, in the same way that the area of a sector is a fraction of the area of a circle, the length of an arc is a fraction of the circumference of the circle. Let's look at a picture of that. Here we have the circumference of this whole circle. Our arc is measured m degrees. I'm going to put a little sign on there for us. Okay, so m over 360 tells us what fraction m is of the whole circumference. So arc length is the distance along the arc, and it's measured in linear units. So it's not squared, we're not finding area, we're simply finding length. And we do it by saying, instead of area, the length equals the circumference times whatever fraction m over 360 is. So m 3/60ths of the circumference gives us that length. So let's go ahead and try applying this. And before we do, let's remember circumference equals 2 pi r or pi d. Okay, looking at example 4. 4a, find each arc length. Give your answer in terms of pi and then rounded to the nearest hundredth. Okay, let's see. We are looking at this circle with a radius of 10 feet and an arc measuring 90 degrees. Remember, that's not length, that's measuring our degrees. So we also know that this central angle right here would be 90 degrees because they are equal. Let's start applying all of this to our formula. Length equals circumference times the measure of the arc or the angle over 360. Our circumference, our radius is 10, so our diameter is 20, so it's 20 pi or pi d. Or we could have done 2 pi r, which is 10 times 2 is 20 times pi. All right, and we're going to multiply it times 90 over 360, or 1 over 4, which is what that reduces to. So we're going to say 20 times 90 divided by 360 times pi. Our first answer is 5 pi, and that equals 15.71 feet. And remember, it is not squared. All right, let's look at the second one. This time they give us the words, the description, but not the picture. This is letter B, example B. An arc with measure 35 degrees in a circle with radius 3. So I have drawn that for you. An arc measuring 35 degrees in a circle with a radius of 3. Our formula says length equals circumference, or 2 pi r, or pi d, times m 3/60ths. Our diameter is 6, 2 radii. So 6 pi times 35, which is our arc measurement, over 360. 6 times 35 divided by 360 times pi is 0.58 pi, which equals 1.83 inches. All right, that is it for lesson 11-3. I hope that's helpful with the homework. Go back and rewatch the videos if need be, and use your video resources to help you if you need to with the homework.